Welcome into Rover Sports. How is everybody doing tonight? I want to talk about Demarcus Cousins. I haven't sat down, haven't gathered my thoughts, and I haven't given you a 12 to 13 minute video on everything about Demarcus Cousins, all the implications about Demarcus and him going to Golden State. I haven't done it in a relaxed and coherent fashion, and I'm going to do it, and I don't think it's going to be that emotional, especially at this hour of the day. The Jaguars videos might have been emotional. This might be nice and slow. And I hope you guys, though, I hope you enjoy the insight, and I hope you guys provide comments. So, wow. Golden State getting all these guys. They now have 5 terrific players. Now, is Boogie Cousins going to play for the entire year? We don't know. For DeMarcus Cousins, when I think of DeMarcus Cousins, I think of a team cancer. I think of a guy who can't win championships. I think of a guy who's selfish. I think of a guy that when he left New Orleans, that team got better. When he left Sacramento, he was like a dark cloud over that organization, and he was a dark cloud until Drew Holiday, Nicole Mirotic, and that group in New Orleans was able to win championships, or was able to go ahead and beat the Blazers, and they were a better team without Boogie Cousins, because Boogie can sometimes be selfish. Boogie goes off on players, on refs. He gets ejected. He was absolutely crazy. There'd be stories at practice of Boogie just slinging the ball around, losing his shit. Boogie Cousins is a guy that has not handled his emotions well. Wherever he goes, that team he's like a freaking curse to a franchise. He's almost like Dwight Howard, and he's never been close to leading a championship team. His image is a terrible teammate, a talented player, a guy that's developed a jump shot, a guy that's able to actually put the ball on the ground, and a special player, but a guy that he never elevates the people around him. He's never played defense with high intensity. He's never been a consistent player in the locker room, and he's never been a consistent player. So the point with Boogie now is that if he can buy into a system like Team USA, and you can win a championship with Boogie, and he can kind of relax, and he can show the side of Boogie that is capable of hanging out with teammates, that is intellectually able to understand his stereotype that we have about DeMarcus Cousins, and he's able to buy into a culture and use the talents on the floor and buy into a system. Him going to Golden State is smart. If the transition is seamless, then DeMarcus will be more attractive on the market, because then teams will see that he's less of a self-centered jerk, and that teams can win with this guy, that they can win with DeMarcus Cousins. So the Pelicans didn't want him. He didn't have many offers at all, because why would you want to have this guy take up all of your cap? He hasn't proven that if he's the best player on a team, that team's going to be anywhere close to having team chemistry, that the guards are going to enjoy playing with DeMarcus Cousins. Next thing I want to say, the Golden State Warriors are doing nothing wrong. Bob Myers is doing nothing wrong. He drafted Steph, Klay Thompson. They've utilized the shooters. Steph is 6'4". The way that the offense has gone around him, he's been able to grow. He's been able to learn. Steve Kerr has been able to create this offensive masterpiece of a system where pretty much now you can plug in Hubie Brown or Mike Brown, I believe, the coach of the Cavaliers, former coach there, and you could pretty much win a championship. You can then have Luke Walton come in, and he can prove that he can take Golden State to an incredible season. It is a system. It's a system of shooting threes. It's a system of spreading the floor. And for Golden State, I really don't hate how they've done all of this. They recruited Kevin Durant. Durant wanted to get out from under Russell Westbrook. He went to a team where his talents, where he was able to play from a basketball fit, from a lifestyle fit. And even though his legacy might be tainted by a lot of people who watch the NBA, Durant in a couple of years is probably going to go to the Knicks, and he's probably going to challenge himself again. And then when he's in that role, everybody's going to be short-sighted. They're going to forget all about the dominance of Durant. And then when Durant goes out, when he retires, everybody's just going to be talking about the championships. Everybody will be talking about how he beat LeBron James in a couple of championships, and that'll be the book on Kevin Durant and the Warriors. So, point is, Boogie just signed for $5 million. That right there is a problem. You can't have players. This is for Adam Silver now. This is how to fix the NBA. You can't have players that are that talented. You can't have players that are that talented signing for that little of money. It's like Tom Brady signing for like $7 million. It's like Cam Newton signing for $8 million. You know, theoretically it's possible. But the point is, if you're that good of a player, you cannot sign for that amount of money. So this is my solution to the NBA. The players and the media should vote on the top 100 players in the NBA. The top 10 to 15 players in the NBA, they make a certain amount of money for the following years, and their salary's a certain amount. So meaning like LeBron, KD, Anthony Davis, Giannis, Ben Simmons, Embiid, Kyrie Irving. These guys make like maybe 60, 70 million. The Supermax is gone, and they take up a certain percentage of a team's cap. If you're that much of a star, the players vote and the writers vote. So if you're that incredible, you get into a certain tier of money that you're making. Then you have the second tier of guys like Jimmy Butler that are fairly talented, Karl Anthony Towns, guys like maybe Jokic that you hear about that are pretty good players, guys like Klay Thompson. These are B-plus level players. They make a certain amount as well. They're in their own cocoon, so teams have to pay them between maybe like $15 to $25 million. So you can have a certain grouping of those players. Then you have your C players, which is players like Otto Porter, guys like maybe Paul George is your top C, your top of your 30s list, so on and so forth. Kyle Lowry, DeRozan, then they make a certain amount of money as well. So then your teams will be, you want to have maybe a lot of C players, C plus players, playing against maybe one A player and a lot of B players. And that's how you do it. Because right now Golden State has Steph Curry and Durant, they're 2A players. You have Klay Thompson and Boogie. They're almost A players as well, especially Boogie and Klay. And then you have Draymond that's a B player. But in a theoretical world, we'd have Kevin Durant on his own team. And if you have Kevin Durant, the second best player, then after that, you would want like an Andrew Wiggins or like maybe a Jay Crowder to be the second best player on that team. Like, look at LeBron and the Cavs. That was a perfect team that was assembled by LeBron and the Cavs, if you have LeBron, that team was perfect for a competitive NBA because you had LeBron James, but then you had a huge drop-off. And theoretically, you'd want Kevin Durant, and then you'd want like a lot of like okay to solid NBA role players with, surrounding the star. But you don't want too many stars on one team, so you have to structure the salary cap so that your A players are not able to play with stars. And that's why they should take up a percentage of the cap that is huge. And listen, the Doug McDermotts of the world, the Joe Harrises, the Nick Stauskas, the Ed Davises, the Julius Randles, those guys, even if they get paid $7-8 million, they're going to understand that they're not at the top of the profession. They're not at the top of the food chain for the NBA because the writers, guys like Bill Simmons, guys that consume basketball like The Ringer, Kevin O'Connor, Zach Lowe, smart basketball guys are going to be voting on players that are worthy of these spots. And pretty much your contract's going to be how great you are on a market basis so that nobody can take less money to just win. Here's the other thing I would do with the NBA. There's certain ways to neutralize great players. If you move the 3-point line inwards, you will then have, like, not a college three, but just above a college three. You'll then have a lot more guys able to shoot threes, so the power of Steph Curry will be neutralized and the game will be more condensed. There'll be less space. If you make it acceptable to have 2 seconds in the lane, you have a lot of big men cluttered in the lane for that time, allowing less movement, allowing the stars to get off less shots. The officials, the worst part about an NBA game is the 5,000 and the bonus. I don't like that at all. Make it 8 fouls so that you're constantly doing inbounds plays, so that it's less free throws per game for a star player, so that James Harden's not going to the line and doing that dumbass, little step in 3-point maneuver thing that's so damn annoying. The touch fouls suck. The TV timeouts, watching a basketball game on TNT, it takes about 3 damn hours, 2 hours and 50 minutes. And if a team wins the first quarter, like say a team wins the first quarter 35-25, that 10-point lead means nothing. Even with 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter, you give that team a 10-point lead, they might not even win the damn basketball game. Shorten the basketball game. Make the possessions more important. That is why I would have a 42 or a 44-minute basketball game. Let's do 22-minute halves like college. Why do we need 12-minute quarters with all these stoppages? Watching an NBA regular season game is not entertaining. I find the summer league much more entertaining than the NBA season. I do. You have all these rookies, you have competition, you're seeing all these new guys, and also it's game after game. It's fun. In Utah and in Vegas, you have games going on all day long, and then you have games that are stacked like a tournament day, like an NCAA tournament, and the games are quick. It's 2 hours. So, for example, if you go to a game at 7 o'clock, the game's over at 9. If you start watching a game at 8 o'clock, it could be over at 10 o'clock. You can then do stuff with the rest of your evening. If you make the NBA regular season 60 games instead of 82 games, the problem is you're not going to get as much money, but I would enjoy it a lot more because it would emphasize the importance of the regular season. The Warriors didn't give a shit about the regular season. Their games were terrible. They got blown out in a lot of regular season games, and the regular season was deemed meaningless. But if you actually increase the importance of the regular season, maybe instill some buys. I mean, look at the NFL regular season. The Philadelphia Eagles, with what the Eagles did, they made the regular season incredibly important in the NFL because all the Eagles had to do was they beat Matt Ryan. They beat a team that's never really won road playoff games in Atlanta. I think Matt Ryan's only won one road playoff game, and that was against the Rams that were so inexperienced, and Pharaoh Cooper basically handed them that game on a silver platter. So then the Eagles beat the Falcons. Then they had to host Case Keenum and the Vikings. Case Keenum isn't an elite level quarterback. They didn't have elite level passing on the road. They didn't step up. The defense got torched in that game. And they just lost their shit against Philadelphia and performed really bad for a team that was pretty damn good all year, that was decent. So basically, the Eagles had to win 2 games, and then they went up against a Patriots team that was a shell of its former self, and bam, they're a Super Bowl champion. In the NFL, everybody who talks about the NFL, they don't like the NFL. They only don't like it because like they talk about the commissioner, the suspension, so they don't like Goodell, or they talk about, maybe stuff like before the game's happening or the political messages of the NFL. The on-field product of the NFL, the pass interference, is a very annoying rule. I would make it a 15-yard rule. The officials can sometimes be shitty in the NFL. But the point is, the NFL and the NFC this year on the field is going to be absolutely awesome. I mean, the NFL this year, the NFC, you don't know who's winning. The Eagles signed LeGarrette Blount. If you put down $200 last year on the Eagles to win the Super Bowl, it'd be a crazy amount of money. So the parity in the NFL is so great. In college football, there's always new players coming in. And even though you have Saban, even though you have Ohio State with Urban Meyer, Clemson for that matter, There's guys like Dabo that are starting to build. I mean, Chip Kelly now going to UCLA. Like, watch what Scott Frost can do. Who could be the next Dabo? Because Clemson was never that elite of a program. Look what happened when Mark Richt left Georgia and Kirby Smart came in. So college football changes in an instance as well. The NBA is too predictable. You need to spread out the superstars, and you can't let superstars sign for less money. The point is, too, is that it's not like superstars. It's not like we should feel like we're impeding on their freedom. I mean, Kevin Durant, if he didn't want to stay in Oklahoma City, that's fine if he didn't want to play with Russell Westbrook. But then what Kevin Durant couldn't do is go to Golden State, but he could still go to Utah. He could go to the New York Knicks. He can go to Brooklyn. He can live where he wants to live. He can find a coach that he wants to be coached by. And in fact, as a star player, he could start creating his own team. So he wouldn't have to deal with a star or Russell Westbrook. He can start being almost as powerful as a general manager, almost like LeBron was with the Cavaliers. And also, if you're a star player, then you're getting paid just so much money, and you're sacrificing making the league. The league then is going to be incredibly, incredibly competitive then. You're making your product great. You're making your league better for the fans. The 7-game series, too, are so damn long. And the thing about the NBA is, even if Boogie didn't go to the Warriors, the league is still broken. I mean, teams are tanking to try to get the next Ben Simmons, to try to find a Donovan Mitchell in the NBA draft. Teams are tanking, and that's a problem within itself. It basically is saying that the draft is more important than building and training players. And in the NFL, the coaching matters more, and coaching in the NBA should matter more too. And it shouldn't just all be about a couple of guys. You should have a level of good B-plus players that are able to beat a really good team. Like the Utah Oklahoma City series, for example, was perfect in that you had a group of guys, you had a young group in Utah, the perfect team of overachievers, a well-coached team going up a team that wasn't as well-coached but had a superstar in Russell Westbrook and had supporting cast players. In that series, you had a lot of C-plus players, and you had a rookie in Donovan Mitchell that is a rookie, so he wasn't going to get paid that much money. He's a B-plus player going up against an A player in Russell Westbrook, a B-plus player in Paul George, but the rest of Oklahoma City's roster was crap. Imagine if you got those types of matchups in the NBA all across the board, and that's why with the salary caps, Adam Silver and the Players Association, they need to work something out. They need to try to put forces together, make some effort here, try to come up with legislation for contracts so that the super teams can stop. That's the way that the NBA can go. And then I offered rule changes, less refs affecting ball games, move in the 3-point line so that a lot more guys can shoot from 3 and it's not that big of an advantage. Speed up the game for the viewer, less regular season games, way too many timeouts in basketball. This is why I like college basketball a lot more than the NBA. And a college game I've watched so many more college basketball regular season games because it's just flat out easier to do. An NBA regular season game, you try to watch it on one channel, that takes a damn lot of work to do. A damn lot. I'll watch bits and pieces of an NBA regular season game. I love watching, great basketball. But watching a whole regular season game, it's difficult. And even in the playoffs, a lot of the games are not even that competitive in the NBA playoffs. It's long to even watch a whole playoff game, period. So those are my suggestions, NBA, about how to fix parody in the NBA.